Alright, welcome back here. Today is the day of what we call the 1st of December 2023, a start of a new month and also the end of Kokoliriko for this week, and that is a Friday. And remember, there are a lot of issues that we'll be discussing here, but first, my name is Federick Dramadri. We'll be taking you up to the hour of 9 a.m. This is the Kokoliriko show that comes every Monday to Friday. We'll be making this up to that time, where we'll be giving you the highlights in Lubarati later on. That will be brought to you by Fete Emmanuel in the news. That is Ayola's of Lubarati. That will be coming up next. But also remember, there is a lot that is going on. Today is the World AIDS Day that we are actually all commemorating or celebrating just for the plights of those who are affected by the disease, and also those who have not yet been affected. So how should they prevent themselves from contracting the disease? Those are the issues that are coming up. Remember, Uganda has also recorded the highest number of this HIV on the continent, and also looking at the districts that are actually doing worse in Uganda. The worst district that has actually the highest number of HIV patients, or I will say clients, is Kalangala district. That is one of the island districts that we have in Uganda that is found the other side of a Ugandan part. But also this is actually one big issue. But what is more perturbing is the cases being on the rise among the young people, but majority of them being the females. That is one worrying factor which we will always all talking about. But also many other issues that we'll be discussing here. Remember, there are a lot of issues that will be actually bringing to your attention. Remember, the issues to do with access to services. Many more people are actually demanding for increased funding. So what is it that we need to do to improve our social service delivery? Yesterday we show Tango Doi, that is NRM National Secretariat group, all the executive members led by Tango Doi, who is actually the spokesperson for NRM, saying that NRM is actually valid, going to actually win elections come next. Okay, that is 2026 elections, and he's speaking this from the background that they have already 4.8 million votes valid already waiting. That is from the NRM chairpersons and also the flag bearers that are already across the country. So what do you make of this? We'll be making a lot of discussions around that. Remember, the launch of the flag off of the ambulances to constituencies, the 116 that were flagged off by the Prime Minister, that is Robin Nabanza, one day ago, has actually brought a lot of debate in the parliament, where some of the politicians are actually saying that this is being biasly distributed, and it is actually creating a lot of enmity and also conflict in the constituencies. That's what we are going to discuss with you here. If you have any point that you want to share with us about some of this, you'll be able to actually chat with us through the YouTube channels. But also those who are watching us from other platforms, you can share your comments. We'll be able to project them here live. But also many other stories. Theft of dead bodies is on the rise in the referral hospitals. There are some people who are becoming commission agents for dead bodies. That is one thing we'll be also talking about. And then talking about other issues that are happening in the country. Remember, yesterday government actually announced that is looking for 3.5 trillion Ugandan shillings to bridge the gaps in using the supplementary, and also to finance wages, pensions, and also gratuities, but also many other issues that are already incorporated in that budget that has been approved. There are so many other issues. The bloggers are going to get it hard, and also the issues of increasing funding or increasing salaries or making putting a minimum wage for journalists is another issue that has been pushed to the broadcasters through the association, and also many other issues that will be discussing throughout within the country. But away from the country, the death toll of The flood case in Kenya, if you have been following that story, has risen to 120. So people are dying. 90,000 of them have been displaced. Many other issues are still there. Remember, the issues of floods in Kenya has been attributed to climatic changes, and also the prolonged drought and flooding has actually created a lot of issues to do with outbreak of diseases and displacement of people. And many other stories. Burkina Faso, death toll has risen to 40. This is among the civilians. They don't know the fight about the rebels and those in forces, government forces. So those are some of the highlights of the issues that we'll be discussing here. We will actually get in case with you shortly after some time. And with me, I have a Peace Ochak, that is AKA Jalsiga. Jalsiga, you're most welcome, baby.
Thank you very much, Federick.
I kept you quiet a bit. I wanted people to know what actually we're discussing.
It's okay, you know, when it's a new month, we always see new vibes coming. So I don't blame you too much, because now you are trying to highlight some of the top stories here and there, which is something so good. Anyway, a very lovely morning to all the viewers of Kokoliriko. And I must start by saying a happy Christmas month.
Yeah.
To each and everyone. You know, for us, when we talk about the first of, when talking about December, one thing that comes in our mind is the festive season. So that is one thing. A happy new festive month to each and everyone viewing Kokoliriko. And my morning is okay. Anyway, yes. Maybe you are from your side. How is the morning?
Not bad. My morning is good. I started seeing a lot of things, actually predicting that maybe Mary will give birth before even December 24th. Because really, the way people are lining up for clothes, for shoes, for what and so on, a lot of attires in town is so overwhelming. And I've seen many people going to banks just to do withdrawals, not really deposits. I've seen that vibe already coming. And also one contrary thing is us. We are looking at the issues of HIV that is spreading like now wildfire. We have seen, I don't know if you are meeting all these young people of 14 years, 15 up to 20 lining up. Or you see the whole of the streets. If you are heading to, maybe if you have ever gone this side of Diofe Road, you realize that people are moving in twos and so on. Young boys just starting. But what perturbs me is the disco issues that are going on throughout. And I was just trying to think around what could be done. Because now we're in an urban center, you remember the communication by His Excellency. Allow the Bazugulus to dance.
To enjoy themselves. Don't restrict them too much.
So it has made actually it difficult for leaderships in most of these local governments to regulate the disco operations. Yet they have actually the laws in hand. Remember?
Frederick, when you're talking about disco, that is, or even if it has been declared by the president to allow the Bazukurus to enjoy themselves or to dance as a community, how is it affecting us? Because the impact is not going back to somewhere else, but it will remain down there at the local level with the local people. As community, we have the roles to play. As the local leaders, we have all the rights to play. We can decide for ourselves, like, what could be the positive or the negative impact of this discourse. Is it affecting people positively or negatively? And in most cases, as we have said, we are seeing that is young girls, young boys, people who are at a tender age, they are the ones going for those discos. And we all know very well what someone needs to go and dance in disco. Imagine you are there the whole night. And by the something which perturbs me, people who goes to disco, some of them don't go to dance. I've ever experienced this with my own friends. They'll tell you, we went for disco, but we moved throughout the night. And you ask yourself, what was the motive of going? And that's one thing which is highly affecting people. Let's first leave these things of maybe it was announced by this person that we are free to dance, this and that.
Before this pronouncement, discos have been there. My issue has been always with the licensing. Who is this permitting the disco owners, maybe the proprietors, to start the operations? What are the requirements that they are supposed to fulfill? These are things really we need to look at. First of all, the age limit, And then talk about the environment, but also talking about pollution impacts. You have these people who go and defecate in caveras, they throw the feces on the roads and so on, anywhere. And this is actual pollution that we're talking about. But also talk about sound pollution, which affects the neighbors. Wherever you're operating a disco, ideally, it's not supposed to interfere with the community activities. For instance, I have maybe Western TV is operating here. Our neighbors are not hearing any sound, any music coming, but we play music here. We do a lot of shows here that make a lot of noise, but people are not hearing outside there. So that is what we actually expected the business proprietors, especially who are venturing into discos, to be doing. So what is the role of the local leaders in this, especially the lower local governments, the sub-counties, the divisions, and then the town councils, where these discos are orchestrated mostly by most of the business persons. What is their take in this? That is one thing we really need
Federick, when you're talking about that is the discos, you are talking about licensing. Is there any qualifications that should be considered for one to maybe start operating a discos? Because we have seen most of the halls, most of the dance halls within the villages, or even in towns, they don't have the soundproofs. And if you try interviewing them about the soundproof, they'll tell you these things are too expensive. And those are some of the things. And getting back to the issue of that is security within the dance halls or the places where people are operating their discos. At times, the security is not to the expectations. And you know, people, when they're going for discos, there are others who are having motorcycles. Others even go with the vehicle when they're going to dance disco. Those are corporate people. How do you take good care of them, of their equipments or the machines? So these are some of the things to be considered. But if you move down to the rural places, it means my understanding. You find someone just comes up with a temporary, something so temporary. If you may say,
they call it boroko.
No, yeah, those borokos. Where someone will just go to the plantations, cut the banana leaves, cut some 1-2 leaves. So that is a whole. It puts people at a very high risk. For example, if maybe something is to happen, you find a lot of people being insecure. And the one bad thing, you may see even people from outside trespassing and coming into the hall. So that is one thing. And licensing, this thing will take us a very long way because of people's perception. As I've said, most of the people, the local leaders, I would say they have failed to follow up or to implement the policies and the rules which were supposed to be followed. As far as disco dance is concerned, we are talking about the age. You go to those disco places, you find it's only young people who are below the age of 18. And if I always propose that, if possible, let it even be increased from 18 up to 25. Because currently, if you look at people at the age of 18, I don't think they're mature enough. Some of them even can't decide for themselves. So these are kind of the things. And I also am proposing, if it is possible, let them be writing not allowed for persons under the age of 18. So once the local leaders or the personnel who are responsible to monitor the discos, they find you operating or allowing people, the teenagers who are under the age of 18, they need to suspend you, they need to cancel your things. And that is one thing, and that's one way we are going to fight against these things. When we're talking about teens going to discos or misbehaving, and that is one thing which the local leaders, they have to do in order to curb some of these things we're talking about.
Okay, if you talk about the disco operations, first there was a time I interacted with one of the youngest, I would say, the youngest child who actually delivered at the age of 10 in one of the districts in West Nile region here. And this girl actually told me they met with that man in a disco.
A 10 years old girl.
It is called a local derby, where you just go there, a lot of dust is there, people they're dancing. So she went and they got engaged into sexual intercourse. She conceived, and from that 10 years she was operated, and up to now she doesn't know the man who impregnated her. So those are some of the circumstances you always find the future of the children are ruined. And talking about the HIV transmission, it is likely to happen here, because really people go there unprotected, they just do things just like that. So that's why we're saying regulation of this discourse is very, very important. If people cannot really go and afford those equipments for maybe having soundproofs and so on, and also ensuring that they have the best environment. Even some of these disco places don't have toilets.
True.
They don't have even urinal shelters. Even where you feel like somebody needs a rest, he will go and rest. It's not there. Federick, so these are some of the things we always see.
How can you rest after you going for a disco? The thing is, you're going for a disco dance. You're going to dance. You're not going to rest.
There are moments. There are moments. Some of the people can easily drink off. So it is upon you. If somebody dies there, it is upon you who is the proprietor to actually take care of this person. You understand? But that's what I'm meaning.
But I thought my role as being a disco operator is just to entertain. You dance, then afterwards you find your level.
Those are your customers. You are supposed to take care of them first of all. That's why they are saying it should be in a gazetted place. A gazetted place can be a building, or can be maybe where it is secure enough, where access is not really just free like that. It should be restricted. In terms of security, there are moments where in these disco halls people start fighting. You have seen those scenarios, and the bottles are flying all over. So these children, if you allow them to be in that scenario, how will they really escape being maybe found dead and so on? Those are things we really need to look at. We have seen the increase in teenage pregnancies. Actually, the South-County chief of was telling us that why should we baptize the name as teenage pregnancy? It should be child pregnancy. It is child sex. It's not really something different. So we should actually tell people that we should move away from that kind of attitude. Parents should take to their roles, but also the proprietors of these businesses need to understand that they're actually creating a lot of anxiety or a lot of bad image, painting a lot of bad image to the society in as far as looking at that business is concerned. I've seen some of the business persons who have taken the messages positive. In town centers here, there are some business, disco halls that I've never had. Even if you go and they put your ears at the wall, you will not hear outside something. So I've seen that and I've loved that. But most times in the outskirts of the city center here, you see all those noise coming, and that's where really we see a lot of issues coming. Now let's come back to this story of young people lining up on the streets and so on, standing by the roadside, discussing nothing but pretending to be conning each other. So maybe have you ever evidenced this, or this is not really something that has been there, or it is still news to you? Maybe
this is not a rumor. It is not rumors whereby you see a lot of young people masquerading on the roadside. You find plenty of them. If any street, just move at any street at any time of the night, probably from around 6, 7 there going forward, you find people lining up. It is not a news, but also I'll blame the community, because we, as being the community, we have failed to play our role as a responsible people. And definitely it is because we have left the responsibility of nurturing these young kids to themselves, not even to the parents. Because, take for example, if I found 2 people that standing by the roadside, as I've said, because definitely if some people are standing, you can see from the way they behave. we as being human beings, not only human beings but creations, these creatures, you can detect what someone is planning to do. It's not only with human beings, even with animals. So you as a matured person, you as being a leader, do you take it as your responsibility to guide those people, to talk to them? We have seen most of them, they just bypass you, they leave you there. So that is one thing which is making the fight very hard. And
by the way, when you go to those couples, I may say couples because they are 2
temporary couples,
you have to be couples. So when you go to them closer, you find them, they feel guilty as if they are still in something.
Yes, because
Where do you think those things come?
It is guilty, right? They are doing something illegal, if I may say, because we all know things of coupling were not supposed to be something of public. There are some behaviors, there are some, we call them public manners. Some of those things are not supposed to be done openly in public. So we have been saying the Bible, the tradition, even the political leaders always says marriage is for two people. Now you're going to stand by the roadside pretending to be coupling. So you feel guilty. I may say that is misuse of public acts. So if possible, let those people be arrested, because now someone, after seeing you passing, you find someone is shying away. Others even cover themselves. I've ever experienced this. When you find two people that are standing by the roadside and you people you're passing, someone will be covering him or herself, and you ask yourself, you people, are you planning to do something illegal or it is official thing? We take for example, now you have covered yourself. Do you know who we are? We people who are passing. Are you aware who we are? We may be criminals. So after you covering yourself, it makes it very easy for us even to kidnap you or to traffic you, because you have now covered yourself. You won't be in position to run. You can't even identify who we are moving with. So it becomes something very hard, and probably the only thing is let the community wakes up, let them team up with the security personnel, and we fight against these things of standing by the roadside. Let them state it clearly. Let them amend the act, the public act, whereby if you see people misusing the public use, I may say, you're standing by a roadside. What if you're not? Because definitely by that time you're off. So that's one thing which is not good for the community.
I've seen this, and many people are saying this is a traditional way of dating. So nowadays some people have gone far, and they're using SMS, they're using Snapchats, they're using all those things to do dating. Now long distance has been breached, and it is just a global village. You can even date somebody from Australia here when you're in Arua city. But this has been a weekend. As the start of weekend, we are going to not really discuss detailed so much into some of the issues, because we have so many topics that we'll be talking about. We'll be just be giving you a lot of highlights on some of the issues, because really it's a start of weekend. We want to make it a vibrant, and also you should be able to really share with us how you feel the weekend should start, the new month, how do you feel about it, and also many other issues. And also, most importantly, where are you watching us from? That is what I want to really see here. Those of you who are watching us from the parts of this region, talk about Arua City. Yesterday there were issues to do with mosquito nets that have come in, but also in the Bonanza, that is the ambulances that were given that turned to be dramatic yesterday in Parliament. Lower Madi constituency also benefited. This is another opportunity for West Nile to also at least get something for themselves. Maybe the issue of ambulances has been really a very big issue in Parliament, coming because really some of the politicians said their opponents are receiving ambulances, and it has turned to be like it is given to those who are outspoken or who are said to be representing their people very well in Parliament, and yet all of them are there. And this has brought a lot of discrimination and also really critiquing among the members of public. What do you say about this? Remember, there were 116 ambulances that were flagged off to constituencies, and also this is out of 556 constituencies that we have in this country. Out of that, it's like a litmus paper testing what it will be like. But what do you say?
But by the way, they always says hard work pays. Now, if they are first considering or they're giving priorities for those who have spoken many times, it is a big challenge for you who have not spoken. That's why you are seeing some of the politicians, some of the lawmakers, you find in a whole year someone spoke for, is it 5 times or 2 times? That definitely shows you lack something. So they're trying to motivate you that next time, please, you also speak. You rise up to that top so that your people can also benefit. And it's a good sign, it's a big challenge. Automatically, now they are the ones saying maybe it is a sign of discrimination, and it is clearly indicated it is for people who have spoken much. And I think that is one major challenge. And if you look at those lawmakers, they're saying discriminations because they're looking behind that if these people deep down, the voters, come to realize that it was given for those who spoke many times, what could be the impact on us who have not spoken for all this while? So it is not something bad, it is good, but also giving the ambulances, I don't believe in that. I don't think it was given maybe because of the times or the number of times someone spoke in Parliament.
Actually, if you look at the communication from the State Minister for Primary Health Care, that was in response to the allegations that people were fronting and also the accusations that they were trying to put. She actually clearly indicated that the ambulances were given just because really they wanted to at least make sure that they reach where the ambulances have never been, especially in the constituencies that are grappling with really transport challenges. They started with them, then they'll go to others later on. But also the question is, what if a constituency doesn't even have a health center for?
It is okay.
Are we going to leave it at the district, or we are going to leave it at the health center? That is one thing. That
Frederick, one thing is,
yes,
ambulance are not stationary. Ambulance, they are for emergencies. You can even give ambulance where there is no health center within a district. But now, how can those people make a proper use of the ambulances? For example, we assume if within a district there's no single health center, you can give it to the district department, but what they have to do is they have to sensitize people at the local level. They have to give them the numbers of the ambulance that maybe in case you have an emergencies, because we have been seeing people having a lot of challenges when it comes to transportations of their patients right from home up to the health centers. Now, if you are to go for special hires, I'm talking about these private vehicles, they may charge you highly, but if you have those government vehicle or the ambulances, it will give easy access, and I highly believe those things are easily accessible, not like these other ones. Because if you call me with my own private van, that please, where are you? Can you come and carry us maybe to the center? I will give you an excuse that, you know what, I'm not within the district. So it beats someone's understanding. It will make that thing very complicated, and taking ambulances to those places hard to reach. I also believe in the statement, because it said they're giving it to people who have never had chance of it. Simple example is Madiokolo.
Yeah.
If you can look, how many ambulances are there in Madiokolo?
They had one that was broken down in Power, and there's another also.
So meaning right
they
now,
are not working.
Meaning right now they need those kind of services very well, because they can't run without those things. And I don't think it is only for that constituency alone. Also people within, they can borrow a lift because they're under one district. They can call, and those things can help other health centers within the places. But also one thing, how are they going to maintain these ambulances? That is another question. We are yet waiting for the answers to come from them. We can't say it right now. From the health officers, from the district leaders. One last thing, we have been seeing misuse of these ambulances. You will see someone carrying shackle with the ambulances. So these are some of the things which are making these ambulances not to be as efficient as they were meant to be. Because if you were to use them into a proper use, if you were to put them for the intended purpose, trust me, those ambulances will serve the purpose they are meant for. So the biggest challenge, and all the balls are in the hands of the district leaders. Let them use the ambulances as they were intended.
Okay, and I know today being Friday, you may not really proceed so much. We'll be making you to move and enjoy your weekend shortly. But before we go out, one surprise news: a 70 years old woman delivers twins. What does this mean to many people? Were surprised about this, and unfortunately the husband had to run away. He said this is a miracle. He doesn't believe in it, because this 70-year-old woman from Masaka district has been really one person who has never had any pregnancy from childhood. She had one, she married the first husband, who died in 1992. Then in 1996, married the current husband. Now all of them are old enough, and surprisingly, from the start of this year, conceived and has delivered yesterday. So she delivered to twins. The husband said, I don't believe in that. I don't know how you conceived. So I just need to run away. This is a surprise. So the man actually in his statement said he thought maybe the woman is fat and so on, and that was what he believed. Because with gray hairs, delivering now, how will they start raising these children? Those are the things that he was trying to raise. Does this news really surprise you?
Yeah,
maybe
it is a news, but also these things gets back to responsibility. You are the husband, you are the official husband. You have been staying together, you have been engaging yourselves here and there with the same person. So it is a surprise, but you have to take responsibility. No matter the age, you are the ones, and you know very well all the repercussions of having those things. So let him get back. I will call him to come back, because now that's one thing which is also causing, that is divorce and breakups in marriages. It is not something good. If elders are also running away, what about the youths? Automatically we are going to borrow a leaf from them, that if those things happen, by the way, he may run. Even you saw in the Bible at first, Joseph took off. For the Christians, they know what happened. He took off, but because he was surprised, how can you get pregnant when I'm not aware? So it is the same thing which has happened to the man, but we know with time he will come back. That is to take care of the family.
Yeah, for the first time you can easily get those fears, and you can easily run away, because really at that age, the woman is 70 years, the man is 90 years. So you see somebody crawling and seriously trying to escape.
but Frederick, maybe last thing, the world is changing. A lot of things are happening. A lot of unexpected things are happening. So we have to be ready for anything. We are seeing things happening both climatically, that is technologically, and everything are happening. Some of these things, some of these occurrences, the unusual occurrences, if they're happening, let's take them as something normal, though it may take us by shock. Let's try to adapt to this, some of these challenges or some of these changes, so that we are settled once and for all.
Okay, that is it. I will maybe let you go shortly, and also we say very good morning. We'll be having up next the guests who are coming to discuss about the World AIDS Day. We'll be actually discussing this with the focal person of Arua City, and also trying to understand what is contained here in Arua City as far as the issues of HIV and AIDS is concerned. Remember, Arua City is the leading in terms of HIV prevalence in the whole of Western region. Okay? Yes, let's take a break from here. We'll be back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish from Fukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league, go for it.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that commercial break. Earlier I told you that we'll be having a guest, but first things first, today is World AIDS Day that we're commemorating, and also a lot of issues and things are happening. Many districts are commemorating this, but there are many who are not also commemorating. That's because of maybe sometimes logistics, the issues of maybe partners not being there. Some districts do not have the money that is allocated for this kind of activities, but we are hopeful that Arua City has been able to, with so many partners listed, being organized in this event, and it will be there at Opium Grounds from the hour of 9. So from here we'll be actually moving out there to see what is actually happening, and also see what strides have been made in order to really curtail the high increase in cases of HIV among the young people, but also most importantly the females. What is it that is going on? And that's what we'll be also really addressing ourselves to. Remember, Arua City has been one of the leading local governments in terms of HIV prevalence. What are the activities that are actually driving the people to be maybe in contact of the disease? Those are things we'll be actually discussing here. With me, I have the HIV focal person for Arua City, that is Amaga Bernard, who will be actually discussing with me here. Maybe you're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, moderator. Our dear listeners, greetings to you.
Okay, that is him, and we'll just start it from here. What is the theme for today's World HIV Day, and also why is it that the theme has been really chosen like that? Because really many districts have decided to split the international team in their various ways to paint a picture of what the situation is like, and also how they should be able to respond to some of the issues that are happening on ground. So what is the one for Arua City as of now, as we talk?
Yeah, thank you so much, moderator. We have two themes. There is a global theme, and then there is a national theme.
Yes.
You know, this is called World Commemoration of World AIDS Day. That means this day is being commemorated world over. All the countries in the world have been mandated to look at this day as one of the most important days to really think about how far the struggle against HIV has actually reached. The global theme is let the communities lead. So meaning that in the fight against HIV, if we put the communities at the forefront, then we will be able to achieve the 2030 global target, which clearly says that by 2030 we should be having zero HIV infection and then zero HIV related death. So this is target that all countries have to achieve.
Okay, before you go further, maybe we are talking about 2030, which is just 5 years to come. I mean 5 years, because really next year is already gone. If we talk about 5 years, now we have the highest number of HIV prevalence in the region as a city. What is it that we're going to do? What kind of miracle are we going to do in order to really make sure that by 2030 we have all these who are sick, maybe they recover, and those who are not yet sick do not contract? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Before I answer that question, allow me give a little statistics that shows to us clearly that actually there is progress, and the chances are high that we can actually achieve that target. From between 2016 and 2012, which was 2016 and 2022, which is last year, a lot of achievements have been noted in the fight against HIV. Like, for example, by 2016, HIV-related death in Uganda was accounting for 370,000 people, but actually 37,000 deaths related to HIV. But that was in 2016. But in 2022, these deaths were actually reduced by more than a half. So by 2022, HIV-related deaths accounted for 17,000. So meaning that from 2016 to 2022, that's a period of about 6 years. So within a period of about 6 years, if we are able to halve HIV-related death, that means that by 2030, we will also be able to achieve the target of 0 new HIV infections. And this actually comes with the theme, the national theme that Uganda has adopted, and the national theme is keeping communities at the center. Remember, the global theme was let the communities lead, and the national theme is keeping communities at the center. So all the districts within the country, in Uganda, have adopted this theme, and that is what we are working towards. Our aim is to ensure that between now and 2030, we should be able to strongly advocate for the involvement of the community members at the community level, so that they understand that this fight against HIV is not only for the health workers and then also for the other stakeholders, but we need strong involvement of the community right from the grassroots level. And for your information, for the information of our people who are listening or who are seeing us, we know that studies show that 70% of the diseases are preventable, and the prevention starts from the community. So the households, the individuals, and the people that we interact with at the community level actually should be at the forefront, at the center of the fight against HIV, and that is where we will be able to achieve our results.
Okay, maybe before we go further, there are a lot of myths and thoughts about HIV spread and shown prevention. Many people, especially the young people, there's this, I want you to clear it now. There's this belief that when you go into sexual intercourse, unprotected sexual intercourse, and you realize that maybe this person you are sleeping in with or having sex with has HIV. And many times people say you just run and wash your penis with the soap and clean water. That's when you'll be able to kill the virus or the germs. Is that a true picture that is preventing HIV transmission? Is it true? That's one thing which is actually in the people's minds. Two is the issue of use of these unsterilized equipments. Talk about razor blades, syringes, and so on. Many people believe that once you have maybe insected someone using the syringe, and you put it in strong sun heat for maybe 20 minutes, you bring it back and you inject another one, this person will not be able to get the HIV from the other person. Or the same to razor blade and many other things. Are this true picture of what we would say will be able to prevent HIV, or it is just something people believe and may not really be able to work technically?
Yeah, thank you so much, moderator, for those questions. I want to say that HIV infection, first of all, HIV infection happens when there is a contact between the body fluids and the body of another person who is not infected. So the body fluids that usually contain HIV virus include things like blood, the sexual fluids, okay, both from the female and the male. The fluids that comes from the reproductive part of a man or of a woman actually contains a lot of HIV virus. Now, during sexual intercourse, what actually facilitates faster transmission is the injuries, the wounds that people usually get during sexual intercourse. And you realize that the HIV virus, as long as one of the partner is HIV positive and is able to release the fluids whereby the two organs are meeting, chances are extremely high that the HIV virus can very quickly penetrate, okay, penetrate the skin, the broken skin, and enters into the bloodstream of the other person. That therefore means that they believe that when you pull out and you come and wash, that you will actually come out uninfected is a very wrong one, because the transmission happens at the time when the organs are still together. Okay, as long as there's that contact between the body fluids of an infected person, okay, and it finds the broken skin, it easily penetrates. So that belief. Yes.
What do you mean broken?
Okay, you know an intact skin. First of all, HIV when blood drops onto your skin, okay, and you do not have a wound. A broken skin is a wound, either a wound or a bruise. These small injuries that exposes the inner parts of the skin, and where maybe there is bleeding and so on. So those facilitates transmission, and actually that is why we say that that sexually transmitted infections facilitate faster transmission of HIV. The reason being that those sexually transmitted infections create wounds, okay, create injuries on the reproductive part of a man, on the reproductive part of a woman. Now it is through those injuries that HIV virus actually enters very easily. And I want to say this, that you know there is a saying that circumcision offers protection of about 60%. Yes, 60 to 65%. So circumcision offers protection against HIV for about 60%. Yeah, 60 to 65%.
Does this work? That practically?
It actually works. Now the principle there is that uncircumcised skin is vulnerable to injuries. Okay, so during sexual intercourse, you realize that the internal part, what we call the prepuce, okay, once it is retracted backwards, the skin that is inside is so light, okay, it is so light that it can be broken easily, especially when the sexual activity is kind of traumatic, okay, maybe it is not that smooth, okay, whereby injuries force is applied and so on. So there are those minor wounds that come in, and it is through those wounds that transmission takes place. Now when you look at someone who is circumcised, there is that the prepuce, or the soft part of the skin, is actually removed, okay, and then the skin that surrounds the penis is a little hard, okay, is a little hard, meaning that at least chances of the skin getting broken during activity are quite narrow. So it gives you a little protection. But we are saying that when you are circumcised, do not only use that as a preventive measure, okay? So you have to use it together with others, like the use of condoms, okay? So condoms are very good. It is a barrier method. It protects against so many things, not only HIV, STDs, pregnancies, and then so on. But above all, it is very important for us to know HIV status. Okay, yeah, we need to know our HIV status. You need to know the HIV status of your partner before you go into this kind of activities.
Now, when you talk about knowing HIV status, there are many men I've interacted with. They have actually said since their wives are working elsewhere and so on, welfare, and they have not been having chances of going to do any activity of sexual nature. Why should they go and maybe test for HIV at the moment? What could convince someone to go and do testing?
You know, we are human beings, and we understand that. I think when we were growing up, we used to say that the best ways of preventing HIV was A, B, C, D, isn't it? If you can remember. Number 1 was abstinence, isn't it? Yes. Number 2 was be faithful to one sexual partner. Okay. Number 3 is use of condoms. These were the principles, the main points behind prevention of HIV. Okay, but you know human beings sometimes they tend to really violate those principles, and
from sex
and
with
they,
your wife, but
you find some you find somebody goes outside, so that becomes a challenge. So when couples are working far apart, the most important thing for them is to be faithful to themselves. Okay, yeah, to be faithful, and whenever you are away from your partner, then you need to abstain. And then also, and these are adults, so they should be having really some ways of arranging for themselves to really fulfill their conjugal rights. We understand that it is one of the backbones of marriage. It is important for them to fulfill their conjugal rights, but they should know that once married, remain faithful to one partner, and that will go a very long way in preventing HIV. Chances are high that when you start like this kind of extramarital relationships, chances are high that you will enter into what we call a sexual network. Okay, sexual network, you find I am sleeping with maybe your girlfriend is with you, you also have another girlfriend, that girlfriend also has another man, so you find yourself a group of, the network starts with just 2 people and it grows. Okay, now if
name them, actually it makes a round.
It makes a round. So only one person who brings the HIV virus into that cycle, okay, will end up infecting the rest, because you are in a network. But you had asked a very good question about transmission. Yeah, HIV virus, indeed one of the routes of transmission is use of sub objects. Okay, especially when the sub object has cut maybe somebody who is infected, and visibly, okay, the object has stains of blood, even if it doesn't have blood, but when it has been used within a short time, okay, chances of transmission are actually very high. But you said that if it is put in the sun for like 20 minutes or more, okay, of course HIV virus does not survive for long outside the host cell, okay, or outside the where it is supposed to be. It does not survive for long. It stays mostly in the body. So there is that easy maybe when you take maybe needles or razor blade, you know, those do not have wide surfaces, or some places where the virus or the blood, a wet blood can be hiding. So they tend to dry faster compared to needles. I want to say that one of they are what we call key populations. Okay, these are people who are most at risk of getting HIV, and this includes people who inject drugs. Okay, people who inject drugs. So you find that we have some people in our communities who are addicted to these drugs. Of course, drugs like heroines, okay, drugs like pethidine. These are medicines. Like pethidine is a serious painkiller that is supposed to be one of the restricted drugs that is supposed to be used in the hospital. Okay, but you find that some youths get access to these medicines and they start injecting themselves.
So HIV. Why is it that people are getting motivated to go for it?
Of course, it has characteristics of a drug. You know, there are medicines, there are drugs that we call substances of abuse. Okay, so when they have a characteristic of number one is, first of all, when you take them, there are those groups. When you take them, they are like stimulants. Stimulants mean that they stimulate your central nervous system to feel that you feel happy, you feel motivated, you feel what we call elated. You have like high moods. Okay, so you feel that you are like above other people. You start having beliefs that are actually not real. So those medicines, when people take them, it gives them that kind of good feeling. But again, when the quantity increases, it can instead become a depressant, meaning that it depresses the central nervous system and makes you it makes you to become inactive. Okay. Of course, these drugs are so many, but the point there among the people who inject drug is that HIV transmission among them is actually very high. In Uganda, according to studies, the HIV prevalence among people who inject drugs is actually at 37%. Wow. Okay, so it means that they actually share these needles. They share these needles. You get this drug, you inject yourself the same needle, you use it for injecting another, and they do not know whether the persons that they're injecting with are actually HIV positive or not, and those actually facilitate faster transmission.
Okay, this brings me to the worrying statistics that has actually clearly indicated that the HIV transmission among the young people is actually on the rise. It's the biggest. So why could this be happening? What are the likely factors bringing all these statistics? Is it because most of our generation or the country's population is the young people, or are these married young people, or these are just the children who are still schooling? Really, we need to understand that from there. What is actually fueling this?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. First of all, you are right to say that HIV prevalence is the highest among the young people. Currently in Uganda, HIV prevalence is highest among age group from 14 years to 24 years. Actually, they account for, again, 37% of all people who are living with HIV. Okay, so 37% of the new HIV infections is actually among the people who are within the age category of 14 years and 20 years. And as you said rightly, these are actually young people. And there are drivers, what we call drivers, the things that fuel or facilitate these transmissions. But anyway, another point is also that among the young people, actually the girls are 3 times more infected than the boys. Or girls are 3 times their chances of getting infections are higher than the boys. Now, when you look at the drivers of HIV infection, some of these drivers include the mushrooming commercial sex workers. Okay, what we call transactional sex. So when you go to most of these towns, even including these ones of our Zarwa city, you find young girls within that age category lining up. Okay, and when you interact with them, you realize that their main the main reason why they are on the street is actually poverty. Okay, so poverty is one of them. Okay, and then social inequalities. Social inequalities, you find that the category of people who are quite rich. Okay, there are category of people who are extremely poor. Okay, and then there are categories of people who are in the middle class. So you find that the poor do not have the capacity to meet the demands of these ladies, or the daily survival requirements for a girl child, for a boy child. These you find that because of these kind of gaps, so these ladies tend to go on the street and try to find a way of looking for money for themselves. And then also one of the drivers, these long distance truck drivers, they are also one of the drivers actually, because among the long distance truck drivers, we realize that the the HIV prevalence is between 32 to 35%. So most of them, you know, as they move across countries between one country and another, they have stopovers. So as they make stopovers, you realize that they tend to meet ladies from different backgrounds, and that also facilitates transmission. And then high teenage pregnancy rates. Teenage pregnancy is a very big problem in West Nile. You know, these teenagers, these are people who actually do not have the actual capacity to negotiate for safe sex, okay? And then also they do not have the right information to make really informed decisions. So they are most times deceived, okay, by these men, and most times you find that these are just small things that are given to them, and maybe somebody promises them marriage, somebody promises them a good life ahead, and they end up dropping out of school and they get pregnant. So teenage pregnancy is a very big problem, is a very big driving factor. And then also school dropout rates. You find girls start primary, but by P5, P6, a good number of them have dropped off. So now when they drop out of school, what is the livelihood? How are they going to survive? Okay, you find that survival becomes a problem. And what next? They start to find a way of surviving, and that exposes them to HIV.
Okay, those who are watching us now, we are here still on the Kokoliriko show discussing the issues of World AIDS Day, and we'll be doing this up to the hour of 9 a.m. That will be ushering shortly with to you also the news in Lugorat. That will be brought to you by Fete Emmanuel. But also those who have been following this, we have discussed a lot of issues. The issues of circumcision among men should be really a priority. You have heard that the beauty is that you at least have 65 or 60 to 65% chances of really not contracting most of these sexually transmitted diseases. But also many other issues that are being discussed here. You can pay attention. Shortly after this break, we'll be actually coming back. Thank you.
We are off.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
We are the passion you've been waiting for! It's Yunus Junior Santamu! It's our league, our football, our boys, our style. Start Times UPL new season starts 15th September. Go for it!
What a finish from Fukume!
The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL, our league, go for it.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
From that commercial break, earlier we were discussing the issues to do with what is actually contributing to the HIV high prevalence among the young people, but also many other issues to do with the World AIDS Day, and also many other things are happening elsewhere, also within Arua City. As I said earlier on, we'll be having the commemoration of this day at Opium Grounds. That will be with many partners, blood transfusion, testing, and many other things. you can come there. There are so many free services there you can be able to get. And also we are here with the focal person of the city discussing the issues to do with how to tackle and also put to an end HIV issues by 2030. What are the strategies that have been laid on ground, but also really how really we can take the protection issues to ourselves as individuals, because really the prevalence among the young people now, if you talk about the ages from 14 to 25, that means majority of them are not really married people. These are school-going age children who are actually supposed to not really involve themselves into sexual activities, but because of the situation we find ourselves in, you realize that the child sex is actually rampant. And you remember the statistics in 2022 that were disseminated by UNFPA, and reproductive health indicated that actually Arua City was declared to be having an outbreak of sex among the children. So that is another issue, and the impacts you will always see with this kind of infections that are going on. And also the issues of the transit route that we have here. We have a lot of highways that lead to other countries. Talk about South Sudan and also Democratic Republic of Congo. Remember, Arua City is actually the regional market that is actual for East Africa, we may say, because really Central African Republic comes here, so the people from South Sudan come here, many other people come to do trading, and also the nearness of the borders that we have here. We are just like a foot mark to the border, to DRC. That means the transmission is transnational. So it is something we really need to do it together. As the team of this year says, taking it to the communities, and also making sure that communities are empowered about the preventive measures. We should be able to understand that very, very detailed. Now let me come to the focal person, discussing the issues to do with the prevalence among the young people. You had some issues, points that you had not really given out. You were trying to actually come up with them. I had cut you shortly because of the break. You can start from there, and really I will be moving to really what can be done within the shortest days to come, or years to 2030. What is it that we should be able to do in order to make sure that we reduce or maybe end HIV in Uganda? Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, our dear listeners, and the viewers. You are welcome back. When we talk about some of the driving factors that contribute to HIV infection, one of them actually is what we call stigma and discrimination. You know, stigma and discrimination is something that we have been fighting with or struggling with ever since HIV infection was detected in Uganda. And discrimination and stigma is actually a belief, a perception that people have towards somebody who is HIV positive. Okay, so you realize that when stigma still continues, what happens is that it increases the stress levels, okay, of the people who are living with HIV. And when the stress levels increase, they can easily enter into anxiety states and then depression states. And when a person enters into depression, you realize that somebody can decide to start involving himself in negative lifestyle behaviors. Now, when I talk about negative, somebody will now say that now, since somebody infected me, and this is how they are treating me, let me also go ahead and what? And infect others. Okay? So that we suffer in this together. so we are saying that, which is very unfortunate. We are saying that we must avoid stigma. Because HIV, yes, it is part of us, it is now there. Because when you look at the current statistics, about 1.4 million people are living with HIV, by the way. And out of the 1.4, about 1.2 million are already on treatment. And that leaves us with a number of about 200,000 who are still out there not on treatment. And some of the people who belong to this category of 200,000 are actually those who could be fearing stigma. They do not want to come out openly to get treatment, to let people know that they are actually infected, and then they start what? They start treatment. The reason being that they fear that they will be stigmatized, people will be people will start pointing fingers towards them, and then even those who really think that they could be infected and therefore they need to go to test themselves, you find that they are holding themselves back. Okay, fearing that maybe if I go and test myself and I am God positive, what will I do? Okay, so they also fear stigma. Now, this stigma is a problem. We want to fight it together. We want to bring the community at the center of it, so that we support people who test positive and are living with HIV. Need support from us. The health workers need support from the community. They also need support from their family members. And actually, among the family members, they need a treatment supporter. Somebody who is supposed to really be close to them, counsel them, remind them time to time about them taking their medicine. Okay, when you talk about stigma, this brings me to the issues of declaring these results, especially for the children. You talked about ages between 14 and so on. How do you declare a HIV positive maybe result to a minor, especially these children who have contracted, maybe those from the mothers, those from maybe these behaviors you may talk about, because we don't rule out the acts of sexual intercourse among the children even below 10 years. It is existing, and that's why you see teenage pregnancies coming low as 9 years of age. In Uganda we have seen one now, and this is something critical. We saw a scenario in Zombo district where some children of 7, 8, 9 years were told that they were actually taking drugs for malaria, and these children were like, why is it that this malaria is not really getting done? Year in, year out, I'm taking drugs. And that became an issue when they learned from the health worker that they were actually taking drugs for HIV. And it brought a lot of issues. Some of the children ran away from home and so on. They started isolating themselves. So how do you actually declare results of some of these minors, especially the children? Thank you. Indeed, declaration of HIV results to these minors is a technical issue, is quite a challenge. First of all, you need to understand, does this child have the capacity, okay, to really withstand this bad news that is going to come, okay? And therefore, if the child does not have the capacity to understand what exactly is going on, because this child is going to ask you questions: why am I taking this? What kind of disease is this? When will it stop? Okay, the child will ask a lot of questions. So it depends on the age category really, and that is where now we need this very strong support of the family members, especially the parents, who have to really understand this, and slowly by slowly they need to let this child know. I want to say that the hardest of this category is actually children who unfortunately get HIV from their mothers during delivery, because they start taking this medicine right from day one. Okay, they start taking this medicine right from day one and throughout their life. So as they keep growing, you realize that they start comparing. Why is it that, as you said, why is that for me I'm taking it every time and this one is not taking? Okay. By the way, one of the biggest challenges that we are facing right now is that these adolescents, these young people who unfortunately got infection from their mothers during delivery, many of them have actually refused to take this medicine. Okay, many of them have refused to take this medicine right now because some of them say, we are tired. I am tired of taking this medicine. For how long? When will I stop? So it needs a very strong counseling, a very strong support for them to understand that this has now happened. Okay, now that it has happened, the way forward is you need to take this medicine so that you live you live a longer life. And indeed, because of the interventions that have been put in place, most of the people, or many of the people who are living with HIV are actually crossing, many of them have crossed 50 years of age. So it means that they are living a normal life, okay, just like any other person who is not infected. Now I want to mention to you, you asked me about some of the strategies. We are working towards achieving mainly 3 targets, and we believe that when these targets are achieved, we will be able, it will take us closer to the 2030 vision of ending HIV. Now this is one is 95%. They are what we call 95, 95, 95. 95% of the population, 95% of all Ugandans should be able to know their HIV status. So that therefore means that 95% of the population, if Uganda is is 45 million, so that means about 40 million of Ugandans should know their HIV status. Now that means that each and every person, the community members, the individuals, should have access to testing their HIV status. So I want to say that all the health facilities, Ministry of Health, Uganda AIDS Commission, they have done their best to ensure that at least all health facilities should have testing facilities, and not only tests can be done in the health centers, but also you can go to the health center and get self-test kits. There's what we call Oral Quick. You just put in the mouth and you find your results, and then there are those ones that you test yourself using the blood. So these things have been made very simple now, so that we should be able to achieve the first 95%. Now,
so the self-testing thing, I fail to understand this, because really I may not declare my partner that my result has indicated positive. How genuine are those results that will be disseminated, especially maybe if you have a partner or a girlfriend who first wants your result. Now you have tested, you have seen that you are positive, but you'll be really open to declare that. That's one doubt I have. Then two, how will maybe the local governments, for instance, the city, capture those kind of results? Because you need to report how many you have been able to reach, how many people you have been able to find positive, how many are already on drugs, and shown those statistics for Uganda to really be aware that really we have this number of clients that we are serving. We are either reducing in the cases of the HIV prevalence, or it is actually increasing. How will they really capture those data if we are strategizing on self-testing?
Thank you so much. These self-test kits are not just given, they are not just given out. Of course, there are people who walk to the health facilities saying that I want the self-test kits. And then there are those ones like the focal persons of the key populations. By the way, these commercial sex workers, they also have their focal persons, so their VHTs that we use to easily reach them. Okay, so you find that these focal persons can come to the health center, and when we give like 10 self-test kits, we recorded them down that so and so has taken what 10 self-test kits, and now when COC, the focal person, is going to give to the colleagues out there, they also record their names and their details, and we demand for the results. Okay, we demand for the results. Now the way that these self-kits work is that they are highly specific to HIV. Okay, they are highly sensitive, and they are highly specific to HIV, meaning that any HIV virus that is in your blood can be detected by those self-kits. So now the point is that once you have tested yourself and the result is positive, it is what we call a screening test, actually a self-screening test. You are supposed to come to the health center and now confirm the test. Now when it is confirmed in the health center, that's now when you can be enrolled on treatment, and you'll enter into the ART register. But when you test yourself negative at the community level, as an individual, we still want that result back to give accountability to the tests that we are given. Yeah. So
okay, we are left with just 4 minutes, and I want us to wind up with this. Arua City is actually located on the borderline with DRC. How do you handle the issues of response and also managing the situation? Because I am much aware that Congolese also come to test for this disease here, but also Ugandans cross the other side. So how do you manage the two?
Yeah, thank you. I think for us as health, Ministry of Health, as long as somebody is within the borders of Uganda, that person actually has access to services. As you all know, in our health facilities, they don't ask for national IDs, isn't it?
Yes.
But they ask for nationality, whether you're a Ugandan or you're a refugee or you're a foreigner. Those details are also taken. So you find that we have health facilities that are actually close to the border, like even Health Center 3, it is very close to Dramchako border. Okay, and we have people who come from DRC Congo. Even Adomi Health Center 4 is also really not far from Lia and from Dramchako. So as long as somebody is able to come for services, that person can be treated.
So where is the challenge? Do you trace these people?
Okay, of course, once somebody is tested positive and the person is tested within our facilities or at outreach point, we know that is a risk to the community. So first of all, during the tests, we gather somebody's details, which includes the phone numbers, the residence, and even next of kin, so that in case the result turns positive, we are able to do contact tracing and follow this person. Okay, we need to follow this person and try to find them where actually they are and whether they are on treatment. Yeah, so that is really important, because somebody who has tested positive, you cannot really leave the person to loiter around in the community.
Okay, that is it. Let's have your last words and then we call it a day. Yes.
Thank you. My last word is that there is a savior. The savior is what we call post-exposure prophylaxis. You see, most times when somebody gets into contact with somebody who is HIV positive, or somebody whose status that you do not know, people just go back there to their home and start living their normal life, not knowing that the first 3 days after the contact, after the sexual contact, or after sexual exposure, or even any exposure to HIV, can actually be a savior. So my humble advice is that when you are exposed to HIV infection, maybe through sexual intercourse, and you do not know that person's HIV status, that is one, or to when you have coerced the person to go for HIV test and the person has refused, please just run to the nearest health center 3, no, nearest government health center, and go and get yourself a post-exposure prophylaxis within 3 days, and you will swallow it for 1 full month. I can assure you, chances are extremely high that you will be HIV negative. As the earlier you get the medicine, the better.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that is the city focal person for HIV and AIDS, and we have been discussing about the World AIDS Day, just trying to understand what Uganda is currently doing, but also what the individuals, the people, the citizens need to do in order to really reduce the HIV prevalence. And we are aware that by 2030, all countries committed that they should be able to really end HIV. So that's where we are really driving. We have started driving this some time back. We're still moving on and trying to see whether the car will be able to reach where we are actually planning to reach. And that is it. This is at the end of the Friday's edition of the Kokoliriko show and the start of a new month, that is 1st December 2023. Behind the camera is Dijon Pro, who is the technical person. They are doing works with the camera, and also in the production is Aldo that I have there. And also up next we'll be having the news and look at it with Fete Manuel. My name is Federick Dramadri. We'll meet again on Monday. Thank you.